We are the Black Hand. Alliances come and go. Corporations rise and fall. But the Black Hand remains. We wait. We watch. Through it all, the Black Hand lives on. When we strike with ruthless efficiency.
I'm back from Cloud Ring an hour ago. Killbots scream throughout the night. On the way we came across a PL camp. Man, it was an awesome fight. I'm back in the Imperium. You're the Hasmodea boys. Back in the Imperium. Been on a fleet so long that I got 2 paddlings. Only asked FC 6 times. Daddy, I just got the ping for a cap league. Boss kill mail shall be mine. I'm back in the Imperium. You know now how's my day, boys? Back in the Imperium, back in the Imperium, back in the Imperium. Well, the good fights seem to come each night. This beast Garista's ratting. And a big red boat's laid in a fleet tonight. Jump, don't jump, I lied to son. Oh my god, if you jump, you're dead. Oh god damn it! Oh no! I'm back in the Imperium. You don't know how's my day off, boys. Back in the Imperium. Well, the sea told me to ensure my dread tonight. Big things are happening. And if I get popped, it will be alright. Cause I can always haul on super kill meals in a rookie ship. Oh, show me all the salty tears on r/eve. That echo chamber of bedposts. Boo-hoo, Gurgoons and Mittani. But what coalition gives you content the most? I'm back in the Imperium. You don't know how's my day off, boys. Back in the Imperium.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the MetaShow.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MetaShow. It's going to be another awesome week of the show. We have an awesome guest. We have Crass Kitty coming on, a new EVE player. I think she's been playing about a month, as well as we have a lot of war talk. A lot of
all the war, all the time. That's basically all we have here. It's going to be fantastic. Especially today, like, essentially, I don't know, it must be very confusing for Crass Kitty, I think. I mean, what, you've been playing the game for how long now, and all of a sudden it's all war all the time?
It's like maybe 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, and yeah, it's become insane.
So, from what I understand, I mean, I had no idea who you were. It was mentioned on last week's MetaShow that you were going to be here at the very end. And from what I understand, you've essentially been interviewing consistently all of the enemies of the Imperium, and, you know, pretty much non-stop for the last couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, it was really hard to get any Imperium interviews, to be fair. I did interview Laz, which was great, but it was really hard to get Imperium interviews. So it was not me trying to only interview the enemy here.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, maybe because you were new, it's the whole. We have that shibboleth thing, right? When anyone refers to us as the CFC, it's sort of an automatic sign that you're probably one of the bad guys.
Well, it's normal EVE though. If no matter what side you're reporting on, and you could be doing both sides at the same time, you're going to be biased no matter what. Like, there's someone going to yell at you for being biased. So
yeah, it's gonna.
All right. Well, I mean, have you been having fun with it? Because we're about
I've been having a blast.
Lots of pretty serious meta here. I mean, you are here now on the MetaShow, which means that you are going to be accused of being essentially a goon spy. You will be a plant, and all of the people who have been watching your stream are now probably going to hate your guts just because you're talking to me. And worse than that, I might even make eye contact with you through the internet, which Reddit tells me is one of the worst things that people can do, and only sociopaths make eye contact. It's
through the internet.
They do, exactly. It's a bad thing. You shouldn't do it. Our Eve is always right. It's that is the way that these things are.
Yeah, I was recently informed that that's not the only news source, and that I shouldn't be going to r/Eve for all of my information. Somebody told me that. I can't tell you who told me that, but somebody told me that.
Some random person probably wearing a red shirt.
Some random dude.
So one of the things that I'm already seeing here in chat, which is excellent, we have about 1,000 people watching us. We have right today, just news as it's breaking, is yet another shock and awe attempt from the band of backstabbers. In the midst of the fact that we did a Vulnfuck on them, they did a big Herfblurf Twitch show. Basically, an hour or two ago, they got a bunch of people together, and then they had a big State of the Alliance, and they're restaging primarily to assault the Imperium again and herf lots of blurfs. What they're talking about here in chat is fantastic, because they're attempting, as usual, to get us to react to something that is happening in EU or US time in a Sov war. Probably the biggest single aspect of news here is the fact that these people are, on the one hand, while still talking about how coalitions are bad and how blobbing is bad, and they're doing all these things on their move day, they're actually not willing to set each other blue. They have announced that they are having some sort of like a battered wife policy where PL and NC Dot are not willing to actually give standings to any of their allies. So you have all these dumb motherfuckers who are coming over to assault goon space and destroy the goon. And even better yet, apparently they have gone full there are no goons. They're going to try to destroy Goonstorm, try to destroy the Imperium, because that has worked out very well for them every 2 years, going back into time immemorial where they've tried to do this before. It's been a long time since somebody was actually dumb enough to declare that there are no goons. But that's where we are today. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, watching these people try to justify to one another why it's perfectly okay that PL and NC Dot kill them and gank them while they're all on the same side. And I look forward to the infighting that comes from that. We've seen that in pretty much every war, because, as usual, our enemies are too good to have allies, because they are I suppose the EVE Online edition of the generic elite raiding guild. So yeah, that's the big news. We have move ops. We've got a lot of angry bads in chat. It should be good once we get stuck into the hardcore politics. Are you pumped, Laz?
I think it's a pretty good segue to jump into the Nullsec Power Hour.
Excellent.
Guys, so probably the biggest thing that's happened this week in the war-wise is you had Pandemic Legion, Tishu, and I believe a few others have moved into X70, the Nullsec area in the middle of Pureblind. What that allows them to do is they're able to actually bridge straight into YAO, which is Declan. They're able to bridge up towards ZO6. They're also able to bridge straight into Saranin. So you've seen a lot of capitals die on the Saranin undock. So it was actually it's a pretty strategic move there to move into Pure Blind. It's going to allow them to cut off a lot of fleets moving up the pipe, and as well as just project range.
Yeah, what we're seeing here continually is one after another, is what the enemy is wanting here is no secret. And when we say the enemy wants here is no secret, is probably the other biggest news that we've had this week is the leak of the Pastebin papers, which is essentially a rip of almost all of their command channels and private conversations between the leadership of the enemy. And Laz, if you can link that into the chat here, it'd be fantastic for everybody to take a look. So we know what the enemy strategy is, and it's quite hilarious because we have been saying things very consistently over the course of the last 4 months. Our enemies are attempting to get funding from I Want Disc, but really it's this one guy named Lenny Kravitz. We said that who has been backstabbers and traitors for a while. They denied it. That has been proven by the Pastebin papers. We have said that there is RMT involved, and that their leaders are involved with RMF Horus, which has now been proven by the Pastebin papers. And finally, we've said that not only is there dirty business, we now have evidence that one of the enemy leaders, one of the primary enemy leaders, has actually received a ban for RMT. So here we have the situation where all these people are making these grand moves, and what they're attempting to do is have a single point set piece battle, which is exactly what I have been saying on this show for weeks. And the Pastebin papers prove it. Their move today prove it. What they want is a big, grand BR5 type thing, shock and awe, and let's go ahead and just make everybody give up because they saw 1,000 people together in Eurotime. It's interesting how a collection of hypocrites who will sit around and talk about how they're against blobbing and they're against coalitions get 50-plus alliances together while their leaders are suffering RMT bans to talk about how coalitions are bad. But of course, they just have this battered wife kind of not NRDS thing going on, so it's all peachy keen and totally okay. So that is what we have today. We have Pandemic Legion, or as I now started referring to them, Generic Elite Rating Guild TM in EVE Online Edition, have moved into X7, as Laz says. Test is moving over as well. And at the same time, they've also announced that they're not going to be occupying our space. PL or NC isn't, I suppose. And also that this is all going to just, I don't know. I don't really understand what their path to victory is going to be. I suppose we're going to lose our space, and then Goonswarm will break up, and the Imperium will break up, and that will be that. Well, I don't know, Russ, what do you think is the path to victory?
Well, I mean, I'm more interested to actually hear what Crass thinks about it. As a new player coming to EVE, you see all this counter intel. You're seeing the meta like firsthand as a new player. Wait, you came from what I believe Elite Dangerous?
Yeah.
I don't think you saw much stuff like this in Elite Dangerous.
No. I ran a roleplay server on Elite, and so the most politics we had were like people running around trying to be president, and like me being a bad corrupt cop and stealing people's cargo. That was the biggest drama that there was in Elite, and like this is insane. I was actually just taking notes on everything you guys were saying because I'm trying to keep up as fast as I can. And notes are my favorite way of keeping up with EVE. But I don't know about a path to victory other than, yeah, I'm not sure entirely. I'm not sure entirely what they're trying to achieve here, basically.
Well, this is probably, like, what's going on right now is probably some of the most complex gameplay there is in EVE when it comes to nullsec and the block warfare and all the blocks. And with them already putting out there, and we've said this from the beginning, that they don't want the space, then all they can hope to do is take the Sav and then lower all of its ADMs to 1, so then us, the Goonswarm and the Imperium, can just go back and reinforce it. So once they decide to, oh, we've taken all their Sav, then great, it has an 18-hour vulnerability window. Fucking A, we can just go hit it anytime we want. So it's kind of a big thing there. So if they're just going to reset the Sav, then who cares?
Well, the biggest single issue that we have here is, I suppose, not as much of an issue anymore. So one of the things that the enemy has attempted to show everyone or convince everyone is that they have tremendous amounts of funding from I Want Disc. Now, it turns out, as was revealed in the Pastebin papers, that the primary bulk of the enemy, which is adding to the numbers of the same people who've been killing for all these years, PL and NC are these mercenaries that have been hired by apparently Bosun Dubstep working with Lenny Kravitz over a period going back since December, thereabouts. These people have no real loyalty or involvement with PL and NC and as usual, you'll get to see PL and NC will kill them as they do because they're not setting standings. But the amount of money which was revealed in the Pastement Papers is that they don't actually have an infinite source of ISK. It is coming out of Lenny Kravitz's personal wallet. And once that runs out, especially if the war is a slow, drawn-out thing of attrition and misery, then the funding dries up. Right? They can't keep this up forever. In fact, they can't keep this up for nearly as long as they think. So what I think is hilarious about this is that they are trying to act surprised that Goonswarm is deploying and the Imperium is deploying the exact same defensive strategy that we have deployed successfully in every other defensive war we've been in, which is saying, screw you guys. You're not going to have any fun. You're not going to have any of the kind of fights that you want. We're going to make your lives miserable because we owe you nothing. Especially now that they've gone full stupid and decided to go, oh, there are no goons. Like, that's pretty much just handing us a win right there. That means that essentially we can drag this out for weeks and weeks and weeks into the vulnerability timers that they do not have anybody online. When they have this big herf today, oh, we're going to get everybody together on Twitch and we're going to have 1,000 people together. We're going to have a big move up and we're going to go hang out in an NPC stager. Great. I hope you guys are having fun with that because that's more of what you can expect is nothing.
Well, so do you really,
go ahead.
What's you really think they won't fight if they don't have any extra funding? Like, you really think they're just going to give it up and give up like their whole...
I will tell you not what I think. I'll tell you what I know, which is that we have fought essentially the same collection of leaders who are attempting to run this thing now, in some cases for the better part of a decade, right? And the lessons of history are things that these guys ignore. There's a newer generation of players who genuinely believes that the Imperium has never fought outnumbered. They genuinely believe that the Imperium has never fought a defensive war. They haven't studied history. They don't know how these guys work. The reality is that the enemy in particular wants big, quick wins. What they do not want is a long, slow war of attrition. And the reality is if the goal is the path to victory is take our Sov, then they have to do a shitload of work in a weird time zone because we're assholes, we're not giving them any fun, and then they have to hold it and defend it. Now, Fozzie Sov is a very imbalanced system in that it's very bad for the defender in general. Only one entity can defend, everyone can attack, and they've removed any recon metagame. In other words, you can actually see with perfect information where anyone's timers are in the defensive. It didn't used to be that way in the Dominion system. You actually had to have recon to figure out where a timer was and then go bring people there. So in the long term, they had a window of opportunity with a CO2 betrayal, if they had blown up our super fleet as they had planned, and with the VFK headshot attempt, that shock and awe period of about a week or two was when they hoped to break us up. And beyond that, these guys, they just drain away. This is what has happened every single time before. And it's funny because I can even say that they will drain away. We have already seen that. They do these weekend warrior pushes, but during the week and consistently, since this first kicked off, their numbers have been declining because their pilots are not having fun. That is why they will fuck off regardless of the ISK, is because individually speaking, the pilots and the people who are like CO2 are now about to find this out. You just crush them. You find a pressure point and you bear down on it and you say, this is what you want. This is what you're not going to get. And ISK is not essentially enough of a motivation to keep that going. So there you go. Even if the ISK runs out, they're not going to stick around in the long term. In the short term, the more that we troll them and shit on them on the MetaShow, the more they're going to be all mad and they're going to be all raring for a fight because I'm smug.
Yeah.
And they hate that. And then they're going to be all hot and bothered and they're going to get nothing. It's going to be great.
Well,
except for eye contact. Eye contact.
Jesus Christ. So a lot of people in chat are talking about how they're how Pandemic Legion and others are killing capitals on the Undok of Saarinen, and that's happens every single war that we're involved in. If you get and for a point of note, this was happening up in the Halloween War up to BR5. There was constantly cast being DD'd on the Undok for the Halloween War. So we saw how that ended. I'm just gonna leave that there.
Little details like that.
Yeah.
All right.
But let's see. So we talked about Limba logs. We talked about
the Pastement Papers. We haven't talked about Limba.
Sorry. We talked about bosun logs.
Okay.
And so the Limba logs, something actually transpired last night. You probably be the best to talk about it because I didn't know about it until you pinged me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to hit this, and then we're getting a request here that we should probably have a little bit more discussion with Crass Kitty. We normally bring our guests in at the 30-minute mark, but because Crass Kitty is special, we brought her in here.
Don't tell me I'm special.
You're special in the sense that you're going to make people angry. That's why you're special. You are essentially here as bait You are here as bait on the MetaShow to make people upset, and then we'll have the normal guest sequence once the ranting is over. Yeah, so actually, apparently for a long time now, there's a guy who was leading a corporation in Goonswarm called, his name was Limba, and he was a spy for a number of years, giving intelligence to, I just found out earlier today, Elo Knight told me, that yeah, he had been feeding intel to Black Legion for a long time. Limba claimed that he was, only recently flipped and that he was upset. Literally, he went for yacht shaming. I love yacht shaming. This is when people are... Yes.
I saw that.
Have you heard about the yachting thing with
yes,
with the Imperium?
that you were on a boat and that you were eating seafood and he was fighting a war and ignoring his children and family. So
yes.
Obviously that meant that you were evil. Yes, I am reading this.
I am evil. I was on a yacht. I mean, yachts are a problem in EVE Online. I mean, it seems to be a thing where some people don't have enough yachts, and then this makes them upset.
The shrimp was really good on the yacht. I get it.
The shrimp was fantastic. the Caribbean fleet. I mean, that yacht in the Caribbean is not as good as the yacht in the Pacific fleet, but whatever. We make sacrifices sometimes. But essentially what happened is Limba has been a spy for some time now. He came over from the Bastion, which was another Imperium alliance, and his corporation came over. And then his ego got into the way, and it's actually quite fascinating. If we can find the Mittani leaks, I guess people can find it themselves. You can see as this period starting about March 13th, he starts leaking on our EVE because he's desperate for validation. He wants the upvotes because these people need that kind of external validation. They want the crowd, they want the bandwagon, they want to feel like they are unique, special, and different. And so he starts getting really bitter and posting these Mittani leaks from Illum. Not really from Illum entirely, but finally he screws up, he gets a little feedback. He made a downfall video, which nobody read. I know nobody watched. Maybe they'll watch it now, but if you're making a fucking downfall video, like that's 2005 internet stuff right there. And then we just caught him, and he just got arrogant. He's bragging on Reddit, and he clicked the wrong thing, which is a log that was supposed to say that I'm nearly at the breaking point and I'm so upset. And he couldn't resist clicking a link that involved the Mittani saying sad things and how I'm despondent and weak. And then we just got his IP address confirmed, and that was that. At which point the Redditors started whining about doxing as usual because they have no idea what doxing actually is, and they are a bunch of hypocrites. So that's the Limba thing, basically. And we found out from Elo that he's been doing this for a long time. Even before we were on a yacht, Limba had been a traitor. So
I mean, the yacht was, what, November?
Yeah, the yacht was like December, actually. And apparently he had been...
Wait, where were you on a yacht in December? Because like that sounds like the worst weather ever. For
well, we were at Goon Base 1.
Oh.
we have a private island resort run by Goons called Goon Base 1. It has a yacht. This is essentially one of the reasons why I don't see why yachts are a thing to be ashamed about. I think yachts. I mean, we named our doctrines. We've got yacht fleet. We've got speedboats. Like, that's why we do these things. Yachts are awesome. I don't see why there's a problem.
Every yacht. What do you mean?
All right, so let's talk to Crass Kitty a bit. We've hit the Limba thing, we've hit the Paceman Papers, we've mocked our enemies. That's pretty much the big nullsec news all the way around. What is, Crass Kitty, in general, what would you say is the most fascinating aspect about EVE Online that you've encountered thus far?
Probably the community. They're something else. They're either incredibly supportive and incredibly helpful and really good at being educational and just really good at being positive and great. Or they're completely the opposite, and they just love to just wreck everything and be the biggest trolls possible. So it's really interesting to me, seeing this dynamic and how they come together. It's really interesting. That on top of that is the meta, just the amount of extra stuff that happens in the game outside of the game. I've never seen that in anything, and I think it's amazing.
So is there any aspect of the metagame that you yourself, I mean, technically you could say, and I would say that you are already a part of the metagame because you are broadcasting and doing interviews with alliance leaders and things like that. Mm-hmm. Have you yourself engaged in or explored in any kind of metagaming that you would consider? You said that you were a corrupt cop in Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I actually have a rule on my stream that says no metagaming, but it's talking about role playing. It's a totally different thing than here. The meta here is not what I have always assumed. Have always called metagaming. Metagaming is always being given information from somebody else's stream, stream sniping, and be oh, this person's coming to kill you. That's what I was always associated with it. Now it's really interesting because the meta here is just insane. And I like unwittingly became a part of it. I did not know when I started doing the interviews that I was just gonna become like part of the meta. And now people are using my stream for interviews to spread propaganda. And like I know I'm here right now for more propaganda, right? Like I get it. It's part of the meta, and it's really interesting to me. It's yeah.
What have you seen so far? If you had to actually describe one moment thus far in your new career, I guess you'd call it, in EVE and being part of the meta. Yeah, see, there you go. You get sucked in every time they try to pull you out, they pull you back in. So what has been, this has got to be good if it's making you giggle. What has been thus far your favorite moment out of all this crap in the last couple of weeks?
I mean, I don't know if you saw the Subaru ad, but that was probably it. Sephora Jones came on my stream and drunkenly talked about how much he loved Subarus and gave me the best Subaru advertisement I've ever gotten in my entire life. And somebody actually put it to like a Subaru ad, and the YouTube video is just like Subaru ad with Sephora Jones' voice in the background, drunkenly slurring about how good Subarus are. And it is my favorite thing in the entire world.
We've had him on the MetaShow as well. Sapporo is pretty awesome. He is like, I think is he the leader of test right now, or is Dur Dur?
He is the leader of test right now.
Okay.
Dur Dur is just very loud.
Okay.
It's Sapporo. I love Sapporo. I will eternally love Sapporo because of that Subaru ad. The next car I buy will probably be a Subaru because of Sapporo. Like it's destined at this point.
So I guess nullsec wise, we also had we had the failed dread bomb yesterday in X-70.
Do you want to rant about Simon's being just...
I'm still super mad about it. Like, I'm getting triggered just thinking about it.
Share your pain. Let it out.
We had it at 50 cent structure, and we meant to drop dreads on it like 5-10 minutes earlier before any of the supers or anything landed on field. And I think we had 6 Sinos in system, but none of them would join the right fleet. So we kept just screaming at people to put the Sino on the right fleet.
Anything involving Sinos or tackling caps or supers is something that historically Goonswarm is notoriously awful about. So yeah, there we go. I'm missing out just looking at chat here in both in Elysium and here on Twitch that I'm supposed to have one of these like gaming racing chairs that all the cool kids have these days.
So they're actually just way more comfortable for streaming. They're just really comfortable. Everybody makes fun of streamers for having them, but like the minute you sit in one, you will understand. Okay.
Apparently that's true. I mean, Avaranthian here is saying that they're super comfy and that they wish that they had one too. So that's interesting. Okay, well, never mind.
If you go to a PAX or like any convention where there is a DX Racer booth and you live locally, wait until the end of it because they sell the ones there instead of shipping them back for like usually like a third of the price.
Wow.
Just a little insider secret.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the list price on one of these things?
I think they're about 400.
Yeah, it's like 375 is I think the median. But it's like I said, they have this lumbar support pillow. Some people use it, so I use it. And the reason I got mine was because I had this really plush office chair, executive chair that I was using, and then I started like my back would hurt, so I got this one, and it's been amazing.
I have nothing to say about this at all.
That's when I like our chairs. They're nice. Okay.
I am at last completely speechless. Okay. All right. So yeah, there was an attempt. We were going to gank a hell. That didn't work out very well. But Laz was upset, but Tibersel was pretty pleased with it. Sometimes you roll the dice and it doesn't quite work. What's been interesting about the process of this is what you've been seeing from a strategic perspective is that forces of the Imperium, of course, as we've said, have been really way too spread out. The alliances and the coalition are by and large withdrawing to Saranin, and now as a result, when there isn't like weekend warrior blue ball mode, which is all the guys who are angry here that they're not getting any fights or any fun because they had to move up and they hurfed all these blurfs, our fleet comps have been just so much better, and we've been flash forming battleship fleets with 180 battleships. One of the things that was interesting is that on the stream the enemy was giving just before here, I believe it was Elise, was unironically saying that it is bad for the game to have fights where there are multiple fleets on the field simultaneously, which is deeply ironic when we're dealing with everybody and their brother blobbing up to try to come at us, and they're totally not a blob and they're totally not a coalition. But from our perspective, since this has kicked off and since the CO2 betrayal, our guys have been so angry, which is excellent. It's wonderful to have Hell War again. What we've seen is just really good fleets rapidly forming up. Obviously, we're not going to feed any kind of fun into a wood chipper in the middle of an enemy like State of the Alliance group. But yeah, it's been, besides the hell stuff, things have been going a lot better in terms of our doctrines, in terms of our fleet composition, in terms of our numbers. I think Isildur decimated a CVA fleet. Was it yesterday or was that 2 days ago? And we had 460 of our guys on the field in just a completely random op out of Saarinen. So that was good shit. I'm pleased with that.
I mean, last week I did a lot of raging and was really triggered about our fleet comps. And so far this week, we've had amazing fleet comps. We're getting 180 plus DPS ships in fleet, 30 logistics. I mean, we were bringing 100 DPS ships and 70 logistics. So it's much better when it comes to fleet comps. And I've been yelling at everyone as much as possible just to make sure you don't undock without a proper fleet comp. And that, as an FC, that's probably your biggest thing. If you're leaving the station without proper bonuses, without proper fleet comp, then you're already pretty much giving away the fight.
One of the things that I have been fascinated with through the, excuse me, actually, I've got a correction here. It wasn't Elise, it was Jeff Rader. My bad there. So yeah, I think that in general, the war has been very curious, but meantime, it seems to be obscuring the other big news that we have, which is that CCP apparently is introducing like daily quests for skill points or something or other, and people are flipping the fuck out about that. Like, have you seen this, Laz?
No, sorry, I was just reading chat the people saying they can't imagine me yelling, but
Laz yelling is something that happens. It's usually only on global command channels, and it is not a pretty thing. Like,
it's usually a boat. It's almost, I think it's like 90% a boat.
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and go over there. Do we want to talk about the skill points thing next?
Yeah, we can jump into that real quick. Yeah, I mean, for guys, quickly into CCP, please. The only thing that really of note, since I didn't catch the Nullarbor where he was on Talking Stations, was apparently he actually released some stuff last night about the Citadels. So if you want to watch the past recording of that, you can actually go to the past broadcast of this channel and see CCP Nullarbor on that. But one of the biggest things that they talked about, I believe, yesterday was they're talking about adding a skill point type of daily PvE event, and I'll just go ahead and drop that into chat. A lot of people are actually really upset about it. I think it could be a good thing. Because it's like I think 10,000 skill point reward. Yeah.
Is that only 10,000 skill points a day? Is that like the maximum for it?
Yeah, it says the version of the feature we are planning to deploy first will be a simple 10,000 skill point reward that a character will receive the first time they kill an NPC ship every 22 hours. So every 22 hours you get 10,000 skill points. Any
NPC ship?
Yeah, it says anytime, or the first time they kill an NPC ship.
That's interesting. I mean, that's actually really useful because that's an incentive towards people actually getting out there from a Sovnal perspective to raise ADMs across the board. CrassKitty, you are our designated newbie here. How many skill points do you have on your main?
I think it's like something like 3 million, I want to say.
Okay.
Not a lot.
What is your opinion on this then?
I think it's interesting that they want you to like. Okay, so I again went back to R-Eve, which I know I'm not supposed to do, and that is a terrible place, and I should never go there. But I read the thread.
I go there all the time to laugh. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I read the thread, and everybody seems really pissed off. But as a new player, I kind of think that it's actually a good incentive for people that are new to the game to be able to get the skill points that they need without having to spend like money on the skill injectors. Like, I think it's actually not the worst idea for new players.
Have you, I mean, one of the things about new players that we teach our new players, because goons are the worst people in the universe and we're awful and we're horrible, is that we teach our guys how to scam. Right now, not everybody in the Imperium does this, but you know, the easiest way before we would tell our guys to scam idiots, take their ISK, and then buy a completely new character. Now there's sort of a shortcut. You can scam ISK and then buy skill injectors with that. So have you scammed anybody yet in EVE Online, CrassKitty?
Yes.
You have! You scammed somebody in EVE Online!
Wait, and CCP helped me.
Okay.
Wow. So I run this thing where, since I'm a news station now, people can play ads or commercials on my news station. And we have rates like it's, you know, 1 million ISK per viewer, and then if it's during wartime broadcasting, it's 10 million ISK per viewer, and it's like 100,000 ISK per second of the video up to 2 minutes, and then after 2 minutes, it's 500,000 ISK for the next 2 minutes with a maximum of 4 minutes for your video, and I'll also read your posters and all of this. Anyways, so somebody sent me their total price for the wonderful ad, and I opened the ad and it started making a loud noise, and I immediately turned it off and responded that there was no refunds and that I had the right to take anything off the air that I wanted to, and I appreciated his business. And that was my scam. And it's worked like twice. It's amazing. And people know I'm doing it and they don't care. And they keep coming back for more. It's awesome.
Oh my
Or like
God.
when somebody will send me like the price, right? And then I'll be like, oh wait, we just switched to wartime broadcasting, so it's time to send that. And they're like, no, I already paid you. And I'm like, sorry, no refunds. I'm not playing your ad until you pay the full amount. And then I've already gotten
like a surge. Like all of a sudden everybody's watching my stream, and so now it's war and you need to give me a lot more ISK right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm losing ISK left and right because I get stream sniped, so I might as well find a way to make it faster than exploration, because I've never made it back with an exploration load because people like to kill me. I wonder why.
The plights of being a streamer.
So have you actually, have you ever told anybody that you've done the scam before, or is this the first time?
No, I've owned it on my stream. In fact, like what happened was CCP, I want to say it was Fox 4, I believe, CCP Fox 4, I think. He helped me create a spreadsheet, right? And he actually helped me, like, he gave me the spreadsheet, and so we were plugging it all in, and then somebody pays me, and I immediately just, like, went back and was like, yep, sorry, no refunds, taking it off the air. And they were like, I'm okay with this. This is good business. And I was like, thank you. I like it too. And so people knew I was going to take it off the air if I didn't like it. And then I even put a disclaimer, and I was like, if I feel like this is against my morals, Twitch terms of service, or I frankly don't like you, I will not play this, but no refunds. And people just keep, like, it's awesome.
It is. This is the reason why EVE Online is great, because if you actually tried to do this in any other game, you would get banned, and instead in EVE you get rich, and next thing you know, you're on a yacht. So, or you end up like suicide.
I just can't wait for the day that I'm on a yacht. I could totally use a new tan line. See how pale I am? This is all from indoors.
Well, I mean, I'm fascinated by this because I have been basically not watching, but hearing of and predicting the people who have been white knighting you and going, oh, Crass Kitty this, oh, Crass Kitty that, it's a girl playing EVE Online, blah, blah, blah.
Either people hate me or they want me to cover my screen and location so I don't get killed. It's like they can't.
They either want to destroy you or they want to protect you. It's, there's like it's almost as if there's like a Madonna whore complex within patriarchal thought or something like that, and the internet is a fucking cesspool with that shit. But that's neither here nor there. But we actually banned a men's rights activist last night from Goonswarm. It was awesome. He like flamed the fuck out in one of our threads. Actually, it was a thread about some of our guys trolling you on your stream, because we've had some excellent interviews on your stream. Most of which are full of lies. In fact, I think all of them are full of lies. I mean, no, that's a surprise.
I mean, I'm a neutral source, so I can't say that anything's a lie, but I can say that if you would like for more Imperium news to be broadcasted, you should tell your lovely Imperium members that they can come over and we can spread lies from both sides.
Equal opportunity.
I'm an equal opportunity interviewer.
So from chat, Atrocious Fellows regarding the SP stuff. No one's upset about the 10,000 SP per day. It's more that you have to do this one repetitive task to get it. Kill one NPC each day. That makes it a chore. Science and research tells you that this is bad psychology, and it'll be in the long run be bad, and people will get bored with it. Well, I mean, for 10,000 SP a day, you warp to a belt, kill one thing, which takes 10-15 seconds, and then go about your day. I mean, that's not too bad. I've done a lot more repetitive stuff in World of Warcraft or some other MMO where you have to go and kill 30 freaking little monsters and just retarded bullshit. So I mean, one rat a day, that's not bad.
I think that from an incentive perspective, whoever is talking about that psychology is wrong. There's an entire theory of psychology in EVE Online promulgated by BADS about how things like ship reimbursement is bad and how it disincentivizes things. And the reality on the ground is that these things are tested across a number of games. So when they provide incentives, there's a reason why almost every other MMO has a daily quest. It started out, I think, in World of Warcraft a million years ago, and then they're able to see what
EverQuest.
Or EverQuest.
Sorry.
That's good. You would have been like 13 when you played EverQuest?
I've been playing since I was 8 years old.
Oh my, okay. Excellent.
Get on her level.
All right, so these are things that game companies are not going like, oh wow, a daily quest with an incentive. We've never heard of that before. That's fucking rocket science. Like, there's metrics, the psychology is proven, they wouldn't be implementing it in the first place. And one of the things that I saw in chat somewhere, one of these chat windows, was that they should actually add that for like exploration and other activities that they want to incentivize. Because I've always thought that EVE has been terrible for newbies, and that's why Goonswarm is as successful as we are today, is because we are the first and the most effective newbie organization. We bring newbies into this game in Goonswarm either through Goon Fleet, Goon Wafa, or through Karma Fleet, and we turn them into vicious, murderous killers who take what they want and apologize to no one. And we do that relatively rapidly through a training program. But part of the problem is SP. Now, skill injectors are a step in the right direction. If you are, like, if we already have skill injectors in EVE Online, why on earth are you crying about the psychology of having somebody getting a skill point bonus as a newbie when, you know, for various incentivized activities that would get people out and getting playing? Because you know what? The reason why the NPC killing bounty is important? Because you have to undock to get it. It gets people out there and playing the game. It's sensible. However, it is apparently terrifying enough that Laz just ran off, and I think I almost saw... Did we see, like, his pants down? What was even going on? Okay, Laz, are you back with us?
Yeah, no, sorry, my roommates just go home and make sure my door is shut, or else he's gonna get a little loud. No, but the like, I think it's a really good thing, because 10,000 XP per day, it doesn't seem like much or anything like that, but if as a day one player, there's so many skills that you have to train that are like 7,000 skill point train or 5,000 skill point train, and it's like a 30-minute skill, something like that. But those 10,000 skill points each day would be really, really awesome. And help a new player just stay in touch and be able to get those initial skills and those initial fitting skills, initial gun skills, all that stuff trained, and they can get farther into the game.
I was helping my friend learn, like, EVE with what little knowledge that I now have, and he was getting really frustrated, and he was just like, fine, I'm just going to buy all the skill injectors, and he just spent a ton of money on Plex and got all these skill injectors. And so I think that if this had been around, like, he might not have gotten as frustrated, because he felt like he couldn't do anything in the game without actually having to purchase a skill injector.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, scamming is the answer. I mean, if you get the disc or whatever, yeah. I mean, well, you could teach him that. I mean, if you're teaching him how to, you know, if you've done fake ads, you could teach him how to take ISK off of somebody, and away you'd go.
Oh, my favorite part of the fake ad was when the person who posted the idea in chat said that they deserved a percentage, and I said no, they didn't, because they posted it on an online forum and they had no rights, and that I now claimed it. And it was awesome.
Did you tell
really
them?
awesome.
You should tell them. Like, actually, I found this always works very well. We owe you nothing. We are not content for you. You are just an entitled millennial, like what have you. You want, you know, a percentage of this, or you want us to fight you in a way that you want us to fight you. We owe you nothing. You are just here for our entertainment, not vice versa. So if you step that up a bit, Crass, and you tell them that on stream, you should. Then you have to post the chat logs. Have you gotten rage chat logs yet?
I've gotten some really interesting chat logs, like really interesting. Some people have sent me very graphic descriptions of what they plan to do with my corpse. Okay. Very graphic, like some really intricate fanfic going on there, and that's been
I've got some of those too.
That's always delightful.
About my corpse.
Yeah. My favorite is like the copy pasta memes that they like send me, and I'm like, can you not be more original? Like, at least try to troll me. Don't just post the marine thing.
I thought that if you just posted, what is it, dank frags, dank memes, and the rare PP, what the fuck these children
is it PP
are
or
doing?
K? Pepe.
I don't know, and I don't care. All I know is that it's basically like Redditor, Red Pillar, 4chan garbage, and it's hilarious because these guys will spam this stuff, and it's like, so essentially, like, there's this weird generational like rift in EVE now, is that after BR5, CCP started marketing the game in like big battles, right, like BR5 and the This Is EVE video, and it was less marketing about like grand narratives, block wars, and things like that. The average age of the EVE player base is like 37 and climbing, right? But the summer children, as I've started calling them, which they hate, are essentially a lot of very young, entitled players who really want these big battles and dank frags, and they're spamming these like random ass kitty memes. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's just dumb as shit, and they're so easy to fuck with too, because you just don't give them what they want. And they didn't get a trophy. Did you get a trophy, Crass Kitty, when you started playing EVE? Did they hand you a trophy? Is that what they do when you're as young as?
I did get 3 billion in ISK in donations, so I'm gonna count that as my trophy.
That is awesome. How did you get 3 billion ISK in donations? You're like,
people just like in my first 2 weeks, it was just nonstop donations like coming in, and I was like, I'm rolling in ISK. I like it. I'd go home and I'd be like, man, I should start streaming again. I need more ISK. Give me some more ISK, and I need ISK, and so yeah.
God. Somebody is saying in chat here, I love this, the reason that Mins has lost the war is because he doesn't understand the internet law. This is one of the things I do love about this war in general, is how short-sighted these summer children are. They have forgotten the lessons of history. I mean, the Great War in EVE lasted for like 3 years, and here we are, everybody's just getting started. On the other hand, maybe we all need a nap. I don't know. I'm just
No.
looking at Laz. Laz, did you party too much last night?
No, actually, I was home for most of the night because I was dealing with Eve stuff. But
Yelling
I mean, yeah, yes. I mean, I don't know. It's the whole propaganda of this war, and usually it's pretty good. But I think since Test's involved, it's just so much cringeworthy. I love propaganda from both sides. It's not that it's just like it's not our side's propaganda because ours hasn't been on the front of our Eve, and it's why the Reddit mods had to go in and create a propaganda button because it was nothing but test, and it was. I feel bad for the guys in the test fleets that aren't actually in test.
Yeah, it's kind of. You go.
Just a little blurb. If you want your advertisement that you post on r-eve to be played on a stream to hundreds of people, please do contact me in game. Name is Crass Kitty. I'll send you my rates. It's very necessary.
Your rates are very reasonable.
They're very reasonable rates. Incredibly reasonable.
And incredibly reliable at that.
Yeah, always reliable. Your ad will be played.
That's
Maybe.
fantastic.
Awesome.
One of the things that is funny about the propaganda war is this. The enemy doesn't seem to understand the basics of how propaganda and media war is fought. So we are in constant communication with our people in the Imperium. We have fireside chats. We're in Elysium every day. We're talking to our guys on comms constantly. We have our own media outlet. We have this Twitch channel. But apparently the center of the universe, as far as these people are concerned, is our Eve. And even though our Eve is run by the head mod is a guy who's posting constantly on Flashback, which is a Swedish neo-Nazi forum and has been banned repeatedly for making Nazi jokes. That's our dear friend Gorski Carr. And then, of course, there's Dur, who is one of probably the biggest hypocrites in the history of EVE Online. Here is a subreddit of a completely toxic community that is run by these fuckheads, basically. And the enemy genuinely believes that we are losing a propaganda war because we are not buying into their frame. Right? So the way it works is that if you go onto Reddit to try to win a war on Reddit, you're essentially just validating the platform. You're saying, oh, wow, the opinions of a Swedish guy who keeps making Nazi jokes, that's somebody whose opinion matters. And so there you have this echo chamber of these guys who are just sitting there spamming these shitty memes and the same old crap propaganda, just like we saw in the Test War, the Fountain War, just like we saw in the Halloween War, which they all lost also, regardless of what was on Reddit. And that means that we are losing the propaganda war because we don't buy into their frame. Their frame sucks. We don't need to buy into their frame because their frame is essentially run by awful human beings and is worthless. And if you acknowledge it as anything other than worthless, you give it power. It sucks, they're crap, and that's basically it. But RMT Records has been doing fantastically, and we have this, and which you are all watching, which is great. You should be delegitimating the platform, I think. Delegitimating, rather. Big words.
Yeah, so guys, I'm actually going to go ahead and start the giveaway process as well. So guys, if you haven't already spam chat, please go ahead and do that now. Say anything you want. If you haven't already been saying incoherent things already, and we'll be doing three pirate rookie ship giveaways. Those codes coming from CCP. Thanks CCP for helping support the stream. And if you win, you need to message the channel with your in-game character name.
So that's one of the questions that I had. Crass Kitty, in all of this, have you seen, what was, I think, your favorite piece of propaganda that you've seen thus far? If any.
My favorite piece, honestly, the spinmaster.me. I played that on my stream for probably like a solid 2 minutes. Like I just kept jamming out to it. I was like, "You spin me right," and I had no idea what that like meant. And I hadn't talked to you yet, obviously. And in my head, I had built you as this character that everybody had been telling me about. And I'm like, he's this guy who just sits around on like I literally thought you were on a spin master and all that in my head, and that you were like evil and you were literally Space Hitler. And you were really, really, really crazy. And this was like the mental image I had of you. And I'm listening to this on stream and I'm just dancing. And I'm like, I want to be with this guy. He's awesome. Like, Space Hitler's my man. Like, and that was my thought process.
That is the danger of, as we've learned from Eve, what they call the horny white boy lifestyle. It's dangerous. It's addictive. It takes a lot of people down.
But are your legs like in really good shape from all the spinning you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that is one of the things that I think is hilarious about the whole Spin Master thing is that whenever I say anything, I could say the sky is blue, and these people would say, "Oh my God, it's a conspiracy. The sky is green." The release of the Pastebin papers shows that everything that the enemy has been saying that I am spinning about over the last 4 months, everything I've been saying is true. These people do not want to actually look at the evidence, the proof of the CO2 betrayal, the proof of Suez getting banned for RMT, the proof of all the shady crap going on with I1Disc. They want to stick their fingers in their ears and hope that they can downvote the mean words away. But unfortunately, on our platforms, you cannot downvote the mean words away. The Pasteman papers are there. We were linking them in chat earlier, so you can see for yourself that all of the spin that we're doing is actually the truth, and that if you've been calling it spin, you've been lying to yourself. But I'm delighted that you've been looking at it, what, an image of me spinning and going, man, Space Hitler's my man. And
I mean, like, I just was rooting for you, you know, like, I mean, if you're gonna be an evil overlord, you might as well do it in space.
You're screwed now. I mean, you've said that you were rooting for Space Hitler, so now
I think we need to get the spinner master. We need to get it and put it on the show. I think it's just. I think you should grab it. Right?
Elias, if we can find that, if somebody in chat can link the Spin Master thing, and then maybe we can see Crass Kitty.
But guys, remember, I'm neutral. Like, just because I'm rooting for one side does not mean I'm not neutral. Okay? That's like literally not. I wouldn't neutral. There you go. I'm neutral. Okay.
You've been doing this for 2 weeks and secretly jamming out to the image of me on a Spin Master, and now we get.
But I'm neutral. Okay.
And it turns out you're a scammer, and all of these people who have been sending you ISK and thinking that you are their herald and having crushes on you because pathetic internet man-children putting you on a pedestal, no doubt, and you're rooting for Space Hitler. It's gonna be awesome.
I was just rooting for Space Hitler in general. I wasn't saying I was rooting for you to win the war.
Oh.
Yeah, but see, I'm neutral in the war.
So whether we win or lose, you're still rooting for me.
I mean, I just think there should be a Space Hitler, like, period. And you just happen to fill that role.
We should say Space Satan. I think Space Hitler is sort of... The thing is that I have gotten Godwind almost every single day on our Eve these people, which again, ironic because guy...
Are you watching the stream, Alex?
I love it. Great. You can loyal for 31 seconds to get a path link. I love this. So, these guys... so good. Oh, man. I love that. And I had no idea. I was ignoring you because you were interviewing all the bad guys. And
only because I couldn't get interviews with you guys.
Like secretly, you're like bouncing around and getting all excited about space.
Don't make it bigger than it is, okay? Don't.
Well, that's what she said, right? All right. So
wow.
That was just a softball over the plate, right?
I had some self-control there, which is odd for me.
It was funny actually because on the previous Twitch stream, actually, the one that our enemies are doing, that they have actively and repeatedly been using racist language to describe Goonswarm, and I'm not going to repeat it here because it's essentially hate speech. You can't actually say that.
Yeah, I had to time out people. I had to time out people in chat for it.
Yeah, no, it's nuts, and they've been doing this, and it's really hilarious when you read about you and your friends and your people being Hitler or Nazis or things like that, and the people who are saying this are literally on a subreddit which is run by a guy who has been banned for anti-Semitic and Nazi humor from EVE Online, straight up, one, and two, they just... the dissonance, the cognitive dissonance of it is just astounding all the way around. Like, you can't... It's like taking it up to 11. If you're calling everybody, you know, Space Hitler or things like that day in, day out, you can't really ratchet the discourse up. So when you've been doing it for years, which is what our enemies have been doing, it's just kind of like, oh, it's another day getting called Hitler. Okay, whatever, great.
So guys, we're actually running out of time for the day. Thank you so much, Crass Kitty, for coming on. By the way, guys, if you haven't already checked out Crass Kitty's stream, I'm going to link it in chat for you guys, and we're going to give away a
completely neutral media.
Completely neutral. Can I say one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
Toot toot.
Zeltrak.
That's just my little shout out for one person. That was all I need to do.
The German hero.
Chat too. I love this. Right. Oh my god, they were not expecting this from you.
All right, so guys, quick giveaways real quick. Neonin, Enderez, Psychopad, and DC Cosman. Make sure you guys all message the channel with your in-game character names, and we will send you out the newbie rookie ship or pirate rookie ship of your choice. And thank you so much again for Crass Kitty coming on, and all the rest of you guys. We'll see you out in New Eden, and we'll see you next week for the next MetaShow.
All right, you spin me right round. Let's do it. There she goes. I love it. I
already know the tune in my head. I got it.
Just like the Wedding Singer, which you might have been like 7 years old when the Wedding Singer.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen.